told y'all that I had a list of booktubers to recommend. These are the booktubers that really drew me in. I love this list, and I hope you do too. It's time for the truth. I was not a YouTube user before joining Booktube. There, I said it. No, really, I did use YouTube for things like finding free Pilates videos to watch, but I was not a Booktube content consumer before starting my Booktube. And I think that was a huge mistake, first of all. But I also think that it allowed me to kind of really genuinely lean in and discover Booktube in a way that allowed my journey to feel very authentic. And I love that the booktubers that I'm going to talk about today have been part of that journey, because I've been slowly but surely becoming more and more of a YouTube content consumer, specifically Booktube. And these are the ladies that I love so much and love when I see a new video is available for me to watch. I have to start with the GOAT. You know, when I first searched historical fiction booktubers in YouTube, this is one of the first content creators that I stumbled across, and she really challenges me to think about books in a very different way. I'm grateful for her, and I want to thank her, and that is Shelly from Shellyish. Again, the GOAT. And I don't think that I would have latched on to YouTube in the same way that I have had it not been for her. Part of the charm of all this is the charm of the person on camera. And Shelly just exudes that. Not only is she smart, like whip smart, highly intellectual, thoughtful, and has thought-provoking takes on books. She reads the type of book that I aspire to read one day. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But I look at the books that she reads, the historical fiction that Shelly reads, and it's like aspirational for me. I feel like I'm reading sometimes bubblegum stories, and she's reading like, the stuff that I probably should be reading and have read before, but don't gravitate to right now. And I think part of that is just my own where I am in life. But anyway, this isn't about me, it's about Shelly. Her reading take and her takes on books are always so unique. One of the things that I love the most about Shelly is that Shelly's bringing you the books that you find at the thrift store, or you discover in the library sale, or you stumble upon in a used bookstore. Books that maybe you've heard people talk about years past. They're really rich and highly historically accurate. That's one of the things that I appreciate the most about Shelly and Shelly's taste, is that she really leans into that accuracy and that research. I don't always focus in on that accuracy. I'm all about how a book makes me feel and the journey that it takes me on, and less so about how this stacks up against history. She's also a huge fan of like really introspective writing, books that kind of take you into the heart and the mind of the character. I like those sorts of books as well, but I like to balance them with kind of more plot-driven stories from time to time. And I feel like Shelly really digs deep into those really slower, more methodical books. So if that sounds like the type of book that you like to read, whether it's all the time or sometimes, and you haven't yet checked out Shelly's channel, please do so. I'm a huge fan. The second booktuber that I want to talk about is someone that I really admire and respect, because she's really true to herself and her tastes. I find that we have a lot of books in common. Our tastes are very similar. I'm talking about Gloria Z. Thompson. I first discovered her, I think I found an older video of hers that is kind of like her favorite historical fictions or something like that. I'll link to that video below. And I was like, okay, yeah, my person. This is my person. These are my people. I love her style and her presentation. Her voice is so soothing. Her presence is so calming. And I really appreciate that Gloria talks a lot about what she likes and doesn't like. We hear a lot from her about what works and doesn't work for her. And I love that. It's so hard sometimes when you're coming into these spaces to talk about what you don't like and to share your thoughts and opinions without coming across as very negative. And I feel like she is always thoughtful in her approach to giving negative feedback about her experience with the book. Yeah, I have nothing but great things to say about her. One of my favorite recent videos of hers was her 2026 look ahead, specifically at historical fiction. She shared hers, and I was definitely going, yes, 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 yes. We're both excited about some of the very same books. She actually put a couple of books on my radar that I hadn't yet heard of. And I love that because I live in this space of historical fiction, always looking for what's coming, especially prepping for monthly look aheads and kind of a year at a glance, that sort of thing for my blog and for my content. So the fact that she had books on her radar that I hadn't yet heard of was like mad props. I love it. I love it. And highly recommend if you haven't yet checked out her work. Books and jams. I love Krista. Krista is just such a breath of fresh air. She is authentically Krista. And you really get the sense when you're watching Krista's content that you're talking to a friend. She's like, pull up a chair at her house. Let me take you on a tour of my library because I just watched one of those videos of hers, which was super fun. And let me tell you about the book that I just read, or let me invite you into what's going on in my world. She does a lot of reading sprints, like inviting community, like come talk to me while I'm reading. And I love that. I have in my notes, friendly, warm, and the kind of book bestie that you just want to go grab a cup of coffee with and talk about books. And that's exactly the type of content creator that I gravitate to. I love that Krista is just herself, and that inspires me to just show up here and be myself. One of the other things that I really appreciate about Krista and quite a lot of other readers on this list or creators on this list, is that she reads a variety of genres, but historical fiction is kind of always in the mix. Okay, this next creator is like goals. Her following, her reach, her engagement, everything about what she does is goals. I will never be the same type of content creator that she is, but every single time I watch one of her videos, I'm like jotting notes. I'm jotting notes about delivery and execution and just everything, because I think she's brilliant. I'm talking about Carly. Yep, Carly from the Pastel Bookshelf. I could listen to Carly read a box of cereal. Her accent, love it. She's one of two creators on here who I could listen for days. I just love their accent so much. In addition to that, she is so energetic and joyful, and it's just so infectious to hear her talk about books. Now, what I will say about Carly is, of the readers and creators that I have on this list, she probably reads the most broadly. Maybe one other person on here, kind of both of them in the same boat. Carly reads everything. Carly reads literally just about everything. But I can tell when she talks about gothic historical fiction, just the lights go off in her eyes. And I know that it is one of her favorite things. And I love that. She's kind of become a go-to for gothic hisfic, Victorian hisfic, just kind of moody, almost spooky, horror-like, but not necessarily horror vibes. and I gravitate to those books more and more and more in my reading. I really dug in 2025 into Gothic fiction and loved every single second of it. So I'm going to be going back to Carly for more and more recommendations. It's always so wonderful to find a creator that you have mutual faves with. And Carly and Gloria are definitely two on this list. Kind of keeping in that same vein, somebody who reads very broadly, but has a love and an appreciation for historical fiction and weaves historical fiction into what she does is Lid Loves. She's not a historical fiction booktuber, but again, when she talks about her favorite historical fictions, I am taking notes and I'm just loving her whole presentation and vibe, because it's really clear to me that the books that she comes on to talk about with regard to historical fiction were books that spoke to her, moved her, and I just really appreciate that. She's super down to earth, so friendly, and seems like super approachable. Again, I love her accent. Again, that type of creator that I feel like I could sit down, maybe at a pub or a coffee shop, and have a really fun conversation about reading. And I love that. Christi reads a lot. If y'all aren't following Christi Reads a Lot, why? Why not? Of the people on this list, I think that she and I have very similar, not necessarily style, but reading preferences. She does read a lot of historical fiction. She kind of dives into historical fiction subgenres, such as historical romance. She's bubbly, she's fun, and she really inspires me to show up here. And what I mean by show up is, I'm not just here talking about books. I want to bring the vibe. I want to inspire you guys and encourage you. Get in here, get these books read. Let's do it. Let's talk about the things that we love. And someone like Christi, who just brings that cheerleader energy to her videos, I feel so inspired every single time I watch one of her videos. She does have a historical fiction book club here on Booktube, from what I understand. I was going to tune in the other day. She was doing like a live where they were talking about Zora Lily by one of my favorite historical fiction authors, Noelle Salazar, but I was working and I couldn't tune in like live, and I really wanted to experience a live here on Booktube because I've kind of been thinking about it. So hopefully next time she does one of those, I'll be able to join. Diary of a Provincial Lady. Kind of like Shelly, Katie is like goals for me in terms of reading and the type of books and the way that I talk about books, the way that I think about books. I don't know that I'll ever be as advanced of a reader as those two readers are, but they inspire me to try and be kind of like Dylan Joseph. Dylan's a whole nother video, but I've watched these content creators and these people talk about books with just such reverence and love and knowledge and understanding of writing and tools that writers use. All that's so foreign to me. I didn't go to school for any of that. Maybe they have or they haven't. That just comes across when they talk about books. And Katie, I think, is one of those people that I instantly want to be a better reader when I hear Katie talk about books. She is my go-to for classics recommendations. She just put out a wonderful, wonderful video about audiobook recommendations, classics on audiobook, and which versions she recommends. And I'm literally taking notes. Super fun to watch. Love that she just embraces being British and in her reading. And she talks a little bit about this in that audiobook video, that she gravitates toward those narrators that speak in, accents and dialects that she, kind of feels comfortable with. And I love that. She's always got a cup of tea and she's cozy and talking about classics or cozy crime novels. I can't say enough about her. I see her growing and growing and growing. I want nothing but great things for her and her channel. I was doing some like last minute research and I watched a brand new video by Roz from Books from My Bookshelf about, kind of what is historical fiction and why people should be reading it. And it was like ding, 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 checking every box for me. I love her presentation and her style. Roz reads across genres. And one of the things that I've discovered about her recommendations is they're always really well researched and thick. Not necessarily size, but just thick and rich and detailed. And I really want to dive into those types of books. So she's, again, somebody I watch and I get her recommendations and I make notes about what I might want to read based on her recommendations. I really enjoy her work. She's very informative. Her style is very informative, I should say. So she's telling you a lot of facts about the books or the authors or the period of time in which they're set. She comes across with like this authority that I really appreciate. The lifelong reader, I've really been enjoying Kim and Kim's content. She's so calm and thoughtful about the way that she comes across on video. I can tell that she thinks about that. She's got this very straightforward style, but also it's warm and inviting. She's a very well-rounded reader, meaning she reads a variety of genres, subgenres, lots of nonfiction sprinkled in with some really great classics, lit fic, historical fiction. And I always feel like I learned something about her when I watch a video. And I love that. Part of what I appreciate about, or what I'm learning to appreciate about Booktube is you come here for the books. You stay for the person behind the camera. And I really always enjoy learning something about Kim. It's really obvious that Kim cares a lot about books and literature and has been a lifelong reader. Somebody who has books on her shelf that have been there for a long time. So for someone like me who kind of feels like a fresh upstart, that's really impressive. Someone else that I really appreciate who has this really great following and lots of engagement on her videos. And I understand every single time I watch her videos, I understand why. Carolyn Marie reads. Carolyn has the most soothing voice and style. And it just instantly makes me want to sit down with like a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and listen. She has this really joyful, exuberant, but calming presence. And I love, love, love that about her. Her artwork, she's also an artist, is spectacular. It's really great. And her love of classics. And now she's starting to dig a little bit into like translated work. She's just another one of those people who I really appreciate her thoughtful take on books. She's someone that has a wide appeal, meaning she's reading a lot of different things. She's got some fun things to say. She's got some fun thoughts to share about the books that she reads. She also has a book club, which I think is super fun. Yeah, she's definitely someone who I get excited when I see that she's got a new video out. Someone else that I've kind of quietly been following and really starting to appreciate her style has kind of really grown on me is Ruby Hart Reads. Ruby's presentation is very engaging. She's just someone who, I don't know what the right word is. I can't quite put my thumb on it. She's just real down to earth. And I appreciate that she's just here to talk about books. Plain and simple. She's youthful and smart. Again, just really approachable and fun to watch. She's reading a lot of classics. Her most recent video about Anna Karenina was terrific. I actually really love that book. So hearing some of her commentary as she's reading the book was super fun. And I was, again, taking notes. This would be fun to do. Her channel has blown up and I'm super excited for her for that very reason, because I think You know, I want to see all these people succeed here. Noteworthy fiction. Nicole. Nicole is one of my favorites. Like all the rest of these folks, I don't get to watch every single video. I try to, but I guarantee you that every single time I watch one of Nicole's videos, I walk away richer for it. She always inspires me to look at a book or a situation depicted in a book in a different way. You know, she's really, really thoughtful in her approach to not only the books that she chooses, but her take on those books. She's got a very warm and friendly style, and just a lot of joy comes through the camera every single time I watch her. Her smile is gorgeous. And yeah, we were chatting just today about the women. Her take on the women was like spot on. A newer to me booktuber, someone that I instantly subscribed, was Katie at Books and Things. I came across her channel while doing some research for this particular video, and I was instantly like, yes, yes. Lots of Victorian, lots of Gothic. Again, I'm really into that. She's been on Booktube for quite a while now. Just enjoy how joyful she is on camera, that she brings in recommendations not only for books, but also things to watch. She's got this whole huge playlist for Dickens. Love that. She's the only other person that here on Booktube that I've seen talking about the 12 Days of Christmas. So I was chiming in on one of her videos just recently, how much I love that book too. So that was fun. That was a lot of fun for me. I haven't done these in order, so I'm like, oh wait, I'm gonna make sure I talk about everybody. At M Reads. You know, Emily's videos are instantly calming. I love her. And though we may not read the same exact type of books, she reads a lot of classics and some older historical fiction. She's a huge fan of Tolkien, and I love that she's been talking a lot about Tolkien lately. I love that she just brings in like her life and who she is and things that make her unique and special. And I think that again is one of the reasons that people keep showing up, is because they get to know you. And I feel like I'm getting to know something new about Emily every single time that I watch her videos. I love that she brings in kind of her emotional experience with books. I've seen her do that a couple of times, and I really do appreciate that, because that's kind of where I'm coming from when it comes to books. So yeah, gravitate to her work too. I want to make sure I get everybody on this list. Oh, Queenie Reads. I think I'm saying that correctly. Her name is Charlotte, but I'm not really sure how to pronounce Queenie. So that's my stab. I really, really enjoy watching her content as well. She's a very well-rounded reader. She reads a lot of, a variety of genres, but does also incorporate some historical fiction into her reading and recommendations. I feel like every time I watch one of her videos and she's talking about historical fiction, if I haven't read it yet, I find myself adding it to my TBR. I think part of that is she's just great at telling you about a book and hyping it up if she really enjoyed it. But we also have some similar tastes as well. I found that some of the books that she has recommended, read and recommended, I have also really loved. I think that's everybody. And again, this is, I think, the first of a couple that I'm going to do. I have some other folks that I follow as well that I didn't get a chance to talk about tonight. So I'll come back and talk about them. But you guys asked for a list of people who can you turn to for other reading recommendations. These are the folks that I've been going to. There are a couple that are missing, but I'll be back for more. I want to know, were any of these new to you? If so, let me know who. And also, who would you add to this list? Who are the people that are inspiring you to pick up historical fiction books, whether they're older books or newer books or somewhere in between? I want to know. I'm always on the hunt, and I constantly am going back into that search tool here in Booktube to look for historical fiction booktubers. We're not that plentiful, and we're not easy to find. I want to know, who would you add to this list? Thanks for watching, and happy reading.